Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Heard That. My name is Kent, and today we're just gonna have a little bit of a rant. I know that a lot of you that have been watching these episodes have been saying, "Hey, man, go into more detail with stuff, talk story, and all this kind of stuff." So that's what we're gonna do today. No agenda, no lists, nothing like that. I'm not gonna go off of any script or anything like that. I'm just gonna ramble. So today, I think that one of the biggest things about being a chef is the long hours that we work, right? The chaos that's within the kitchen, dealing with different personalities and different people and the way that they, you know, live their lives and stuff like that. That's tough for a lot of chefs. You know, not only are we creators and managers that have to, you know, create menus and manage budgets and stuff like that, but we have to deal with people also. And in my experience, man, I've dealt with some crazy people, man, to say the least. It's there's a lot of different personalities that you have to manage, and yeah, sometimes it gets a little crazy. But I would say that first of all, I'm gonna say one of the hardest jobs that I've ever had was opening a restaurant. I won't say the name. But it was a restaurant near me, and at the time, I was a sous chef. I'm sorry, I was a line cook at a different place, and I took on the position as the executive chef of another place. And my executive chef at the time, man, he was just a badass, and to this day, he's a badass. And I owe a lot of my experience and a lot of who I am as a chef to him. We had a little bit of a falling out during that period because I really wanted to take this position, and I was a line cook, and I was really new and green in the industry, so I didn't really know how to go about it. But I did let him know, like, hey, I'm interested in this position, and I need some advice. You know, can you let me know, like, how to talk to them about, you know, structuring my pay, and you know what I should ask for and how to go about it. And he was so cool, man. And he sat down with me, and he kind of took me through it and, like, hey, this is how I would do it. This is how I would do it. And to this day, man, I owe so much to that dude. And if he ever watches this, I think you know. I think you'll know who you are. But yeah, I was working at a fine dining restaurant. And I let him know, like, hey, I got this position, and I'm thinking about taking this position. I'm really nervous about it, and can you just kind of help me? Blah blah blah. He did that, and then in my time there, he was like, hey, take a week off, focus on that, try to get that going, and then let me know how it goes and if you want to come back. Well, I was so young at the time that I wish that I would have went about it a different way, but I didn't. I just kind of was like, hey, all right, I'm done. I'm going to go pursue this. And I kind of fucked him and left him high and dry. And now looking back on it, you know, it's such a dickhead move. And, you know, he and I haven't really talked about, that time or whatever, but we have been in connection, and we have talked, and he's still super cool, man. And he's got his own business now, and he's just a dope ass chef. And it's funny because I met him doing a salsa competition with my friend, and we ended up scoring second place in that salsa competition. It was dope, and like we just kind of formed a friendship then, and ever since then we kind of kept in touch and whatever. And then I ended up working for him, and we're both musicians, so we kind of have that in common. And he's just a cool dude. But to get to my point, so I took this position, and I ended up starting out as the sous chef. I was working for a chef that he was a cool dude, and he had a lot of experience in that. But I think the ownership didn't really vibe with him, and there was kind of butting of heads. And ultimately what had happened was I knew I was the executive chef of this restaurant, and then that restaurant shut down, and we were going to open up another restaurant, and I was going to be the sous chef. But I didn't really it didn't really go the way that I wanted it to go in the beginning, because I thought that restaurant that I was the executive chef at was just going to keep going and going. But ultimately they sold, and then they hired an executive chef over me. And at the time I was a little bitter, obviously, as anybody would be. But I was like, hey, that's fine. Like, this dude's coming in. He's got a bunch of experience. I can learn from him. All good. I love to learn. So we spent about 3-4 weeks kind of getting the menu in order and stuff like that. And within those 3 or 4 weeks, the owners and the executive chef started butting heads a little bit. And I could see it like unfold before me. And I was like, oh shit, like, I might, take over this position. Well, ultimately that happened. And I took that executive chef position, and I started working on the menu. I started working with the owners and seeing what they wanted. They had a bunch of ideas about how they wanted things to go. I had my ideas. And ultimately we came together and created a menu, and it was great. And so what I'm trying to get at is, within that time period, I ended up working 14-hour days for 3 months straight with no day off. And to me, that was, it was like, okay, like, this is like what it's about. Like, okay, like, you're in the big leagues now. Like, like, this is what it is. Like, that's just what I knew chefs did. But it really put a strain on my family. And I had little kids at the time. My teenagers now were just babies, and I missed out on a lot during those 3 months, and it was tough. And I was exhausted. I was mentally drained, physically drained. And then come opening night, we were smacked. It was a big deal that this restaurant was opening in Elk Grove, and we got through it. It was tough, but that honeymoon period, it's like, it takes a toll on you. And one thing I remember the most out of all of that was we had oysters on the menu. This was like a seafood boil type of place, kinda. That was something that we offered was a boil. So, it was big at that time. And but we had oysters on the menu, and I remember that ticket machine just coming in, keep going, just oysters and oysters and oysters. It got so backed up that I had to jump off line and go help the guys shucking oysters. And I just remember, like, our ticket board was just lined up with oysters. It was like 24 oysters, 12 oysters, 6 oysters. And mind you, during all of this time, we still have tickets coming in that, for seafood pastas and boils and appetizers. It was bananas. I'll never forget that night. I had to jump off line, go help the oyster guy, and we're just back there just shucking oysters, man, just going as fast as we can. And it's crazy because to this day I still have a scar on my thumb where we were shucking oysters, and the oyster shucker slipped, and it just went right under my fingernail on my thumb. And I remember thinking, oh shit, that's bad, because 1, it hurt like hell, and 2, I don't know if I'm going to get some kind of infection from that, but I got to keep going and get these tickets out. And that's another thing, is like, as chefs, we work through so many cuts and scrapes and burns and bruises. Like, it happens, in that time, and then we just keep going. We just keep going and going, and we deal with it later. And so anyway, that night, we we got through it. But the next night, it was even worse because that first night was like kind of like the kickoff, you know, friends and family. And there were a lot of friends and family. I'm telling you, it was not your normal friends and family. It was packed. And so anyway, the next night was even bigger because that was open to the public, and the public was, you know, excited about this restaurant opening. And so we got our asses kicked the night before. And I think I got in there at like 7 o'clock in the morning the next day, after getting off at like midnight and having a couple beers and going home, sleeping for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then getting up and jumping right back into it. And I remember getting there at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were just absolutely depleted. We had nothing. And so I called my sous chef and I'm like, hey dude, like, I hate to do this to you, but I think you should probably come in a little bit, you know, a couple hours early so we can get this going. So we did. And luckily I had, you know, some kick-ass line cooks and some sous chefs that I hand-picked, and they were awesome and they had my back. And to this day, we're still in connection and really good friends. And we just went through, we went through, you know, we went to war with each other. Anyway, the point of the story is I put in hours and hours and hours. I missed family events, as most of us do, as chefs. And, you know, I don't know, I maybe, you know, some of you, you know, maybe some of you don't have kids or have, you know, families or anything like that, and you're able to do that. But when you do have family and when you do have, you know, people that depend on you and, you know, emotionally and, you know, to provide, it's tough as chefs. And I'm here to tell you that, again, I know I've said it before in other episodes, but finding that work-life balance is really, really important, especially if you're up and coming in this industry and you have a family. Like, make sure you know, try to implement that into your career as much as you can, because you just don't ever get those days back. But going on to something else, you know, we work through a lot as chefs. We cut ourselves, we burn ourselves. I mean, you name it, man. This is a tough job. This is not a job for the weak at all. And you know, another story that I can kind of go off on is, I worked for a steakhouse. I mentioned that in a past episode, where we had our own ranch and we got our own beef and stuff like that. Anyway, I remember one specific time that will stick in my mind forever because it was just the stupidest fucking thing that I could possibly do. To this day, I don't think I've ever made this same mistake ever. But okay, so we're on the line. It's lunch, and we are busy. I mean, it's like our ticket times are up to like 15, 20 minutes. I got the general manager standing in front of me, still one of my very, very good friends to this day. And then a server standing next to him, and they're kind of just looking at me like, dude, like, we got to get this food out. And in my brain, I'm like, no shit. Like, I know we got to get the food out, but I mean, we're going as fast as we can. Like, we only have like 8 burners, like, and a flat. Like, what do you want? Like, anyway, they were cool as fuck about it, but we had stroganoff on the menu, and on the stroganoff, we put a dollop of sour cream on it. And I remember very vividly, I had my mise en place. I had my sour cream in a 6-pan, and I know I used the last of it on the last ticket, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to run to the walk-in and like do all this. Anybody that has ever worked in a kitchen knows that if you have any kind of oil on your hands, opening up like a sour cream container with the plastic that peels off, it's hard. Like, you have oil on your hands, like, you just can't get it, you know? So, but anyway, I ran to the walk-in. I was already behind, so I was like, fuck, man. So I ran to the walk-in, I grabbed a tub of sour cream, and I did just that. I put it on the counter. I took the lid off. I went to go open up the plastic that's on it, and I'm like slipping, and I just can't do it. And I'm like, this is literally wasting a lot of time. Like, seconds are ticking by. I can feel it. Like, all I want to do is get this damn sour cream thing open. And I said, fuck it. And I grabbed it. I remember this so vividly. I grabbed it, and I looked to my left and my right for a knife, like a good knife that would go right through it, and I didn't have one. And all I had was a serrated knife next to me. So I grabbed that thing, and I was holding the can, and I just remember going like this. Thinking that it would save me time, and I was skilled enough to just slice the top of the sour cream off. And it's hilarious because as soon as I went back like this, my general manager and the server that was standing right there, I can hear him go, and I went, whack, and my finger, it caught my finger right there, boom. And I just remember doing it, and then looking at my general manager and the server, and they both were like, and then I looked down at my finger, and literally, like, it was to the bone. Like, I still have a scar right here from it that I'll never forget. And I remember looking at it, and I was like, in my head, I was thinking, okay, that fucking sucks. Like, that hurt as like hell, but I still have a rail full of tickets. And so I remember dropping the sour cream bottle, dropping the knife, and I literally took off and ran to the back. And all that I knew what to do at that time was to grab the tape and to grab a napkin or a paper towel. And I wrapped it with tape, and I jumped back online and finished the service. Now, I'm not in any way saying, oh, I'm a fucking badass. Like, oh, no. That was stupid. That was absolutely stupid. I never have done it again. I will never do it again. But the point is, as chefs, we work through a lot. We work through a lot of pain. We work through a lot of mental stress, emotional stress, and all that kind of stuff. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're getting into this industry, just know that you're going to burn yourself. You're going to cut yourself. You're going to have a lot of mental and physical and emotional stress. And you should probably prepare yourself for that before you get into the industry and, really go after your dream of being a chef. Because I'll tell you right now, what you see on TV and, all these cooking shows that you see, that's not real life. That's not how it goes at all in the kitchen. And I often get asked, hey, what's your favorite show? And I just don't watch those shows anymore. I used to when I was coming up, more for like creative, whatever, to get some creative inspiration or whatever. But I think that they depict a little bit. I think what they do when it's just not real life, man. Straight up, it's just not real life. And this is a tough job. It's hard. It's not for the weak, 100%. And so if that's something that you understand going into this job and mentally preparing yourself for, then you'll be fine. I think passion is obviously the driving force of this industry. You got to have passion. You got to love what you do. But if you are not prepared for the other things, you are going to get eaten alive. So that's my episode today. Prepare yourself for a long, hard journey, especially if you're just starting out. It's tough. And if you're an executive chef and you've already made it to those big things, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm not talking to you. Straight up. We know. We get it. So that's my episode today. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. You guys have, once again, given me so much support, and I've gotten all kinds of DMs, and you guys are still cracking me up. Like, I get it. I know. Like, I know what you guys want to see. I get it, but I'm still trying to learn how to do this shit. And editing takes a while and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm excited to do this, and like and subscribe down low. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, follow us, or Facebook, follow us, so that we can keep talking about some cool shit and give you guys some cool content. As always, DM me if you guys have something you guys want me to talk about. Next episode, next week, I'm gonna have a guest on, and then the week after that, I'll probably have another guest on. A couple of my good friends that have some good stories and just some laughter. It's gonna be a cool segment. So tune in for that, and be watching for some new content. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we out.